Not to me.
This is the SuperCoach NRL official podcast. Team List Tuesday with Tom Sangster and Rob Sutherland.
Hello, SuperCoaches. Welcome to our live react team podcast for round one. It's the proper round one. None of this Vegas hit and giggle. Rob Sutherland, I'd argue that this team's day is bigger than last week's.
Are we live, Tom?
The stun mullet.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
There's gonna be memes made about that from last week. The good thing about last week was that I made the mistake, but your head became the meme when you were mimicking me. So you ended up looking like the idiot, and I looked fine.
Yeah, look, I did look like an idiot. I showed the picture to my wife, and she was not happy. She said, that looks stupid. I'm like, well, that's who I am, love, and that's the way it is. So yes, this is a much bigger Team List Tuesday than last week. We've got what was it, 8, 14, 12? I've lost the number of how many actual games that we've got. There'll be 6 more, right?
Six more
How's
games,
my maths?
12,
6
12.
more times 2 plus 4, take 1 away because West Tigers don't count, which is a relief. But we have unlimited trades, and that's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. Unlimited trades, so get in there. Looking at the stats now, looks like people might have a bit of a Vegas hangover or just haven't got in there, or they're waiting for team list today. But you can change your team as much as you want this week. Also, if you haven't signed up yet, you can do it, and you can still pick a really good team. Only those 4 Vegas teams have been locked out. So you've got 13 teams to choose from. Rob would argue 12, given that the West Tigers have the bye this week. But there are still some decent purchases there.
My maths is bad, but I have put in 2 wife's teams since Vegas.
That's illegal.
All of them. I can't win the prize anyway. All of them look much better than the team that I put in before Vegas. So yeah.
You also have a free SuperCoach Plus sign up right now. So get in there and fiddle around. It'll lapse at, I think, at the end of round 2. So get in there, play around. If you've got a code subscription, only $7.99 for the month, you get SuperCoach Plus and all articles as well. So I would suggest signing up for that. What do we already know, Rob? Plenty has come through today already. Ethan Strange is the big one.
That is the big one. Locked in to play 5/8. Pick him at centre, and happy days. Yeah, I was surprised. I actually thought they'd go KO Weeks. There's a whisper KO Weeks could be picked at 14. That would be interesting and really good for Danny Levi. That's the other part of the Canberra news, is that Danny Levi is going to play hooker. 238k. I've seen a fair few people say maybe I'll pick him as my cheapy hooker and I can use money elsewhere. I don't hate it.
So is he starting hooker or bench hooker?
Apparently starting hooker.
Starting hooker. Oh, wow. That is extremely big news. So we'll wait and see what happens in about 7 minutes or so, but we'll be keeping our eyes on that. Bronson Xerri, looks like no deal on him. Really popular. Coming back from that 4-year suspension. Looks like he'll miss out with Jacob Kiraz fit. Kiraz plays centre, which means that Blake Wilson stays on the wing, which I think is deserved. He looks like a really good player.
Yeah.
And Xerri plays New South Wales Cup.
Which, I mean, it's probably not shocking, right? 4 years out, bring him back through New South Wales Cup. Tell him, to do the pre-season narrative that spots are there to be won and he's going to start. But when it comes down to it, pick the guys who have got a little bit more match fitness in their legs. Yeah.
We're going to run through a couple of guys that we think are winners and a couple of guys who we think will be losers.
A couple might be overemphasising how much homework I've done here, Tom.
With 6 minutes to go until the teams drop. Jamin Salmon looks like he's going to be a winner. Fatima Kadu was out there at Bulldogs training today and he's been backed in for that. Oh, here he is in his former incarnation at the Panthers. but looks like he'll be playing in that lock spot for the Bulldogs, which is huge.
It is. It's interesting, right? So they had Salmon to choose from, who's the ball-playing lock. They had Kurt Mann, who's a bit of a ball-playing lock too, and then they had Curran, who's the ball-running, the bigger unit. Maybe that means Curran slots into the prop rotation off the bench. I think it puts a line through him if Salmon's named there. Reluctantly. Yeah, how about for you? What do you think?
I'm still considering Curran, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'll toss it up. I'll see what other mid-rangers emerge today.
Well, the
and
other is potentially Palacia, who's going to say Trav Main said will start at lock for the Titans. So you could keep Curran this week, right? See how the minutes pan out. You get a free go. If it doesn't work great,
it's a trade. It's not a free go.
Sure, but you get a free look.
Yeah.
And then you can bring in Palacia if Palacia works out. So I mean, it's not a terrible thing to have a look.
My other winner, fingers crossed, is Kane Bradley. Now, there's some word that he could, well, certainly in the trial, he played that edge back row spot. Sean Bloor, you would think, would be ahead, but he's had an injury disrupted pre-season. Trent Liero's going into the middle rotation. There's Joe Chan floating around as well, who killed it in the trial. But Kane Bradley, if he's named to start in the back row for round one, I think he's pretty much a must.
There is there's a precedent for this, which is that Josh King? Yeah, King. He didn't do much sort of before he came in for some trials and did really well, and then Belly trusted him, stuck with him at lock, and he became an absolute keeper at the position. So maybe we can have another King. I'd love that.
Who's your other winner? Do you have any?
Yeah, I don't have one.
Yeah.
I didn't do that much homework.
Yeah, before the show, Rob's like, I could just come up with my winner after the teams have been announced, can't I? Without knowing
it's
that
before
this
then.
was before the teams got announced.
You know who I was going to say is a winner? The SuperCoach community. Because they came out at the Crown on... Star. On Sunday. At a casino. On Sunday. And I went along. I wasn't going to go, and I went along, and it was great to see. I got to meet Wacko, which was... that was the highlight.
Yep,
Matt got to meet Wacko, Wacko from Wacko's Whispers. And I got to meet Corey Parker. I should say that's the highlight. But actually, it was Wacko. Like, Corey was really nice. I was a little bit starstruck. We did this Q&A thing, and then at the end, I got all gushy. And I said, actually, it's been a real pleasure to meet you, Mr. Parker. And I'm walking away.
You gave it to him on the stage.
On the stage with the microphone, I gave him my honest appraisal of whether I'd prefer Paul Gallen or Corey Parker in my team. And, he did look a little stone-faced at the time. But afterwards, he was very nice. And anyway, then I got out of there. But it was great to see all the people.
Well, you did get out of there, because all I got asked afterwards was, where's Rob? Is Rob hanging around? And I had to explain that you like watching the Roosters in a dark room with no one talking to you.
There's that.
And that you needed to get out.
There's that. And I'm really good in groups of 5. Anything over 5, I tend to get a little bit overwhelmed, Tommy. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to the losers. It was an amazing day there with 500 SuperCoaches crammed into the Star, and we hope to do it again sometime soon. There was only one point at the end there where I thought someone might get kicked out. So
was that you?
SuperCoaches were pretty well behaved.
Teams are dropping.
Teams are dropping. Who have we got?
Let me start with the Knights. So, the Raiders are, as we expected, Strange at 6, which is great. Gamble and Hastings in the halves for the Knights. I'll roll down Cogger is at 14. Danny Lever, starting hooker.
Yep.
It's sort of as we expected. Dylan Lucas is starting, and Pierce Paul on the bench.
Pierce Paul on the bench. So does that mean you go for Dylan Lucas? Because I've been tempted all pre-season, but with the chat around Pierce Paul, the English Sonny Bill, I think it's a bit of a risk when you can go Roger Tuivasa-Sheck for a pretty similar price. Yeah,
I mean, it's how you said that having a look doesn't cost you anything but a trade. Well, I think picking Lucas costs you nothing but a trade. So you can pick him and stick with him while he's starting, and Pierce Paul is off the bench and not maybe eating into his minutes too much. But you got to think he's going to eat into them somewhat, and. So I would now put a line through Lucas with this. Yeah.
Another thing I want to bring up is Xavier Savage on the wing?
That's a good question. Yes. Yeah, he's there.
He is. So is he a cheapy prospect at $350?
$350 is a bit of an awkward price, but I mean, you got to respect being picked. Who was the guy I had there? I had Far Longo as a potential at $350, but we've got to put a line through him. Well, we do. He's not named. We should go and check that next. Is it maybe? But I don't love Savage, I've got to say.
And the other one, Morgan Smithies at lock.
Starting at lock.
Yeah, so I think he's pretty much a must-have. I think you have to lock him in.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Chevy Stewart, we knew this beforehand, but he won't be playing first grade, at least for the first few rounds, with Jordan Rapana locked in at fullback. I'm going to quickly check live to see if Jamin Salmon is in 13, and he is. Woohoo! Locked in, so he's an absolute must-have. Bronson Sherry, I'll quickly check as well, is not there. Jacob Carraz looks like he will play despite that back injury, so definite sell.
I was just
what
looking
else?
through...
Kane Bradley, have we got?
Let's have a look. While you have a look, I had a look through Knights. the Warriors Sharks. There's nothing stunning in this. The Sharks was pretty much the team was always going to be as expected. Warriors is the same. If there was one thing that jumps out at me, it's that Cameron McInnes is starting at lock in place of Dale Finucane. That could just be because Finucane hasn't really played any pre-season. He's just been working back from injury. But if McInnes is at 13 and Finucane's not there, he's a must. Other way around, not so much.
Right, I'm just trying to load this Storm team now, but not having much success. So nothing on Kane Bradley yet.
Let me see if I can get you there. Who would have thought that the NRL's website is having a hard time with all these maniacs refreshing vigorously?
While we're waiting for that, let's chat at the Warriors. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
Yeah.
So is he... I mean, he was so good in the trials. I'm trying to find a way to fit him in.
Yeah.
I know that centre wing is not a position that I want to spend too much money in.
Yep.
But... if I'm going to spend more than 400k, it'll be for him and for Taylor May.
Yeah, well, I've got May there and I've got Tuivasa-Sheck there. Like you, poo-pooed RTS a little bit. He's been away at rugby, he's coming back, he's not going to be in rugby league condition. Well, he was great in the trials. He ran for lots of metres, he busted lots of tackles. It's probably the biggest gamble of my team is putting him in, and maybe if I had another 80k, I'd find the money for Carraz, just because he also does lots of work, but also throws a ridiculous number of offloads. But for now, I've got RTS there.
We're also going to look at what happens with Joey Lussick and Brendan Hands as well. I've got Lussick penciled in, but so Danny Levi is starting at hooker.
Yeah.
And who's on the bench?
Starling.
Starling is on the bench.
Here's the thing, though. You have a look at Danny Levi, and no matter how many minutes he plays, whether it's 30 minutes or 60 minutes, he's like a 0.7 point per minute guy. He's a really good hooker because he throws a pass, a nice clean pass, and he works hard, got good line speed, and he tackles well, but he does not run a lot. He does not have a lot of attack in him. So let's say he plays 55 minutes, you may be getting 35, 40 points max, which at 238 is okay. It's a slow money maker, but it's not that exciting.
So the NRL site is completely melting down on my phone. I can't get it loaded.
Maybe it's because you and I are just constantly refreshing.
Probably. I've got timeout. I'm timed out. Try again. It's come up on my screen here, and I can't actually click into it. So hopefully,
how about Twitter or the comments on YouTube? We might be someone else might have a better connection than us.
Tell us what's going on, guys.
All right, what else have we got? Nico Hines. We do have that bit of mail that Nico Hines is 100%, and if he's not 100%, i.e. goal kicking, even though he's got a slightly dodgy quad, he said, if I wasn't kicking, I wouldn't be playing. So that's good news for huge. All of us who are choosing between Nico Hines and Nathan Cleary.
So playing and kicking, that is huge. Also at the Sharkies, Kyle Iro looks like he won't play, and he's really popular. He's still over 20% ownership, so put a line through him.
Like the Jed Cartwrights.
Yes, yeah. Jed Cartwright, definitely. I mean, 27% ownership. I assume it's just because he's got that last name, because he's certainly not playing. I finally got them loaded.
Oh!
Let's go. So we've done Knights and Raiders. I reckon we can tick those guys off. I'm going to quickly search for Kane Bradley.
I'm going to give up on this and try a new one.
Kane Bradley is in reserves. But Joe Chan has got the spot, so Joe Chan is now the new
Joe
new
Chan
cheapie.
starting. What's Joe Chan cost?
It's cheapy price.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That was
basically cheapy price.
without dual position. That was a nice thing about Bradley, though.
Yeah.
But
So
you can't have it all.
Look, we lose one cheapie, but we gain one in that position. Let's run just through each of the games now. The Warriors via the Sharks. Now you have the Warriors. But I have the teams.
But I got to look at them, and what I saw is they were as expected, right? So there were no great shocks there. Out of the team, I've seen a few with Metcalf, and I don't mind that. It's a bit of a gamble, but I think you've really got to go, Dylan Brown at 5/8 and everyone else is secondary. Oh, was Munster named for the Storm?
Let's have a look.
Because he was questionable.
Munster is named.
Kicking the pubis for the rest of us.
Can't believe that headline today got through, to be honest.
I did yell out, "Is everyone okay with kicking the pubis?" And since no one said no, I hit the go button.
Sharkies are as expected, it looks like, with certainly Supercoach-wise, we've got Nico Hines. He's playing, no Kyle Iro. They're the two big things that we were looking at.
I don't think anyone was really expecting Iro to get up with her. No.
At the Storm, Kane Bradley, as we mentioned.
Sofa Solomon is out, right?
Sofa Solomona is not named, so it looks like he's going to play. He's either not going to play or play Queensland Cup.
So Welch and Kamakamika as starting props?
Josh King and Kamakamika as starting props, and Trent Liero is now the 13.
Right.
With Joe Chan. So he's gone from being an edge player to a middle player this year.
Yep.
Also, Pappenhausen's there. Farlongo, who a lot of people were keen on for a lot of the pre-season, is in jersey 22. He's going to play reserve grade.
Yeah.
But Bellamy kind of hinted that he would be the 14 once he works his way back from that shoulder issue.
It's very interesting what Bellamy said, wasn't it? It's that, we've got lots of different roles for him. His best role is fullback. We've got a decent fullback. We can do different things with him. I wonder how many different things you can do with him. I don't think he's big enough to play a Dylan Walker, sort of roaming 13-6 role. So maybe he plays as a third half. But I don't know. Be pretty interesting.
He said we need to think outside the square. So we'll see what happens there. At the Panthers, so Talon May's there, obviously. Nathan Cleary is big. Liam Henry, your cheapie at prop, who I'm probably going to go with as well, has been named on the bench. But that means no Maverick Geyer, who's very popular, so put a line through him.
And just put Liam Henry in instead. Yeah.
Yep. So, trade in one, get rid of the other.
Simonson replaces Sevo on the edge for the Eels. Morgan Harper comes in. Lussick and Hands there. That kills off Lussick and Hands, right?
Yeah, probably.
Probably at 350.
Levi floating around.
Yeah.
What do you reckon's going to happen with Sean Lane and his minutes? Tuolangi's there?
Well, my expectation is Lane starts and Tuolangi, he has a timeshare role with Tuolangi, and Bryce Cartwright's got a timeshare role with Biceps.
Ryan
Madison.
I love that I know exactly who you're talking about.
Isn't that the first thing that comes to mind? He does do the off-season well, Ryan Madison, and goes holidaying with his mum. How good's that?
Has he ever trained with a shirt on? That's what I want to know.
I wouldn't. I would never wear a shirt. If I looked like that, flat chat, I'd never wear one.
Also about the Doggies, I know we've spoken a lot about them already with guys like Bronson Sherry, etc. But Drew Hutchison is in the halves, so I reckon he's a very good purchase.
Yep.
It's just a question of whether you get him at centre wing or half back. Jamin Salmon at lock as well, I think, is a must-have, and Josh Curran on the bench. So it's a bit iffy with him now.
It is a little. I don't want to, because he's not cheap. He's $420. I think I'll try to find a way around him once this is all over, and I can actually go back and pull my team apart and put it back together again post TLT.
What else? Titans. So Keenan Palacia, you've mentioned. Bo Firma is there too, which is
as he should be. Cleese Haas won the other second row spot, and
that's
his 80-minute edge scores are pretty bloody good. He got a few games of 80 minutes at the end of last season when they started. They had injuries and were falling apart a bit, and they were really solid. But it's only 3 to 4 weeks, so that's the issue, isn't it? That I mean, you can't bring him in and he'll just start to make some money, and then Fafita will come back. So, yeah.
Speaking of Fafitas, there's another one named for the Dragons in Viliami Fafita.
Super popular.
So he is really popular. I'm looking at this team. So he's in the 16 jersey. Tom Eisenhuth perked my interest at one stage during the pre-season, but breaking news as of about half an hour ago is that Luciano Leilua has had his suspension reduced to only one game. So you would assume he comes in and Eisenhuth goes back to the bench.
Yeah. So I don't think you can go Eisenhuth.
So thoughts on Viliami Fafita, because he is absolute base price.
Yeah.
And dual position, which sets him apart a little bit from guys like Liam Henry, Samuel Hughes, etc., who I think are the best cheapies at that position, but they're a little bit more expensive and they don't have the dual position. I think they're in line for a few more minutes, though. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? In that you've got to think, so say when Luciano Leilua comes back, assuming he goes to the edge, does that mean Eisenhuth drops down and one of the bench drops out? But your bench is only Molo, Fafita and Fatala Mariner. You really need two middles there. So either they're going to put Fatala Mariner as a middle, which is certainly big enough and capable of playing, and then Eisenhuth comes down. Does he replace Fafita? I don't know. Eisenhuth is definitely more of an edge guy than a middle guy.
And the word here from NRL.com is that Blake Laurie is good to go as well. So interesting to note that Viliami Fafita has made that 17, even with Blake Laurie named in it. So he's worked his way up that pecking order, that's for sure. Dolphins. We were looking at Jack Bostock.
And he's named
there.
Yep.
So I think we lock him in.
I think so.
Any argument against that?
No, I'm happy with that.
And Flegler starting too.
Raystone at 13. Now,
interesting.
There was talk that Max Plath would be in the 17, and then as soon as that happened, it was Trav Mayne.
Well, he is in his 15.
No, he's there. No, I know he's there. So as soon as that happened, people were like, oh, Plath's starting 13. I'm like, no. Trav only said he was in the 17. Stone at 13, that's interesting. He's an option for those who sort of are looking at, who like me, who are questioning Curran. I think the price is reasonably similar, and Raystone has put out pretty good numbers as a starting 13. So that's one player I will have a good look at after this show. Oh,
I tell you what, there is huge news for you at the Cowboys. Your man Kyle Felt has won a wing spot ahead of Semi Velamai.
Yeah, I can't have him at that price. I was looking going, Lukey's out? What's going on? No, right. Yeah, look, I love Kyle Felt, but when's the next holiday? I'm going to Vietnam in April, so if I get really hammered on the 333s, then maybe I could bring in Kyle Felt. He's my drunken pleasure.
There is other big news in this team. Helam Lukey confirmed to start on the edge, which is good. I've got him in my team. That locks him in for me. Ruben Cotter at 13, which I like. I think that probably means more minutes for him. But the big blow is Thomas McKaylee, who was so good in that final trial, has not scored that bench spot that we thought he would.
No, that you thought he would.
Well, I thought that he'd played his way into that spot. Yeah. So you have to put a line through him. He's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
I think we got there eventually.
We got there. There was a few hiccups along the way. Let's take some questions. I'm going to open Facebook right now. Would you go Summerton instead of Lussick or Hands? Now,
I have to admit I don't know enough about Summerton.
So he has been named in the 9 for the Panthers with Kenny, he's out for 1 week through disciplinary suspension.
Right. In that case,
it's surely only 1 week. Yeah. It sounds like Danny Levi's the guy there. Although, having said that, I haven't had a good look at him yet. I'm just going on what you're saying.
That's a dangerous thing.
What else have we got on Facebook? Just trying to get it loaded now. Tane Taupiki. There's a bit of love for him because he's got that fullback spot at the Warriors, while Charms, Nickel Clockstad is out probably for 3 weeks. So he gets one price rise and then probably drops out. Plus he's got Tuivasa-Sheck floating around. Yeah. And the way that RTS played in the trials, he could be a chance to ease his way in at centre and then end up at fullback.
Oh, I'd be surprised if they did that. I thought Nickel Klukstar was outstanding and a big part of why the team did really well. But I'd be happy with Roger at centre. But I don't think you can do the Tolpiki. Excuse me if the pronunciation's wrong. I don't think you can risk him.
Well, we might call time on our team's podcast. That was good fun, wasn't it? The page wouldn't load. We had some teams coming through. We didn't stick to the run sheet.
There's a sense of natural panic to it, I think. And can't get the questions to load. But the beauty of it is Thursday we'll be back for the pre-lockout. We'll have finalised our team. We'll have actually gone back and worked out what this really means as opposed to just off the cuff.
Yep, exactly.
Extemporising.
If we missed anything today, tough luck. Like who cares?
Tom,
it was live. It was live, and I'm sure we missed a bunch of stuff. But we'll have the wrap up on Thursday. Plus, I'm doing teams analysis tonight, so keep an eye out for that. Big thanks to Rob. We'll catch you on Thursday.
Cheers.